Hey guys, something I have done is I've gone ahead and I've gone back to kind of a more lapel mic style lavalier, simply because the lavalier mic, the Bluetooth one, was terrible. Convenient, but bad. So now I'm actually recording with an audio data recorder and a lavalier instead of my phone, which was part of the problem. The phone was actually part of the problem. So hopefully this sounds much better and you guys will be able to understand me a little better. So today, I think I'm going to open the hanger, actually. It's like the first nice day in a while. So I may crank the hanger open here shortly to get some air in here. And then it's back to work. I have a lot of machine countersinking, disassembling of this whole thing. Well, specifically, not this part. These can't be disassembled. They're riveted. But disassembling this piece, this rear doubler and reinforcement piece, deburring everything, getting it ready to actually permanently mount on here. And then I think the final step is actually permanently mounting it on there. So that's all coming. Good times. So interesting stuff. Looking forward to it. Fun. All right. Well, this thing ain't gonna build itself, so I guess I better get to it. Okay, so something else I've noticed, I did not thoroughly test this, was that, I can do this while opening the hanger here, was that the recording was peaking out pretty badly, and it's because I had the microphone overdriven, and that is no longer the case. So this now should sound good without sounding poppy or, you know, a little too harsh, too loud, if you will. So this should sound much better, hopefully. Anyways, gonna get to work. Yeah, this sounds so much better. I can't even begin to describe the difference of quality between the Bluetooth and a real lavalier. And not only that, but the difference between using my phone as the recorder and using an actual digital audio recording system. Now, interesting, the DAC adds a slight hum that I have to edit out in post. It's just a little denoiser. It's literally a single click, but it adds a little buzz. So if I ever forget it, that's what it is. And then the other thing is right here, you see me, I'm over there, you can't actually tell, but I'm over there cleaning up some parts on the grinder, and I normally have that other camera over there able to see it, and for whatever reason, I jiggled the wire or something, and it didn't turn on, or like I said, I unplugged it or something. So for whatever reason, I didn't get any footage out of that other camera this whole time. But it happens. What can you do? It's never perfect. But here I am working on that rear spar, getting it all cleaned up, and I'll talk to a little more of that here. So I'm supposed to be dimpling the 26 upper holes that are on this part in this flange. I'm guessing it's going to have to do with the fact that there's a strip of skin that goes over here that's reinforced for when you walk on the wing. That's a guess. But that's here. So how am I going to dimple it? Probably what I'm going to use is this guy. So this is a tool that was recommended as part of the kit, and it's in my recommended tools list. And it's very, very useful. So yes, I could use the DRD2 over there to dimple these. But because there is a kind of a back curve right here, it would make the dimpling tool very tough to use. Could also use the other various dimpling methods that I have, which includes a pop rivet dimpler, which uses sort of a pop rivet that has a nail through it, and then you squeeze on that until it dimples. That would work too. But in this case, I think this is the best way going forward. This tool is really, really simple. You just put it on and you squeeze. It's a pair of locking pliers that somebody just soldered
the dimple die too. How simple is that? And it does a good job. It does a pretty good dimple. Just make sure you get the dimples in the correct direction, because I've done that before where I inadvertently put it in the wrong way. So anyways, so now I got to dimple 26 of them. There's one. Let me make sure I count all 26. So I'm going to do that now.
So now you get to listen to me ramble a little bit while I continue working on the things. And this was actually recorded while I was out in the shop, and I'm going to be doing more of this, just kind of talk to myself while I work. May or may not be related to the video you're watching. It's just something that I felt the need to get across at the time. So that's what you're about to hear.
So I know you guys are really keen on me showing you everything up close, and I'm all for doing that, but when it comes to a lot of this deburring that I'm doing, there's a lot of it. And if you've seen one hole deburred, you've seen all the holes deburred. If there's nothing magical about it, I'm just going to let you use your imagination and save you the suffering that I had to go through. You're welcome. You'll have to go through this suffering too, haha, when you finally get your kit. Which, by the way, I want to talk about that. So, getting some people sending emails saying that I've inspired them to get into building their own airplane. That's fantastic. I can't tell you how exciting that is. I mean, that's one of those things where if you guys build a plane, I'm not going to ask you to be as insane about creating videos as I am, but share something. I mean, show me something. Give me some kind of cool thing that I can point back to and say, look, that dude's building a plane. You know, that's awesome. Just share the experience, you know what I mean? And it's not even about me taking credit or anything like that for you getting into it. It's about me just wanting to vicariously live through you, sort of like you're doing with me. I think this is a fantastic journey, and for whatever your reason for getting into it, you owe everybody videos or something. You know, you're doing people a disservice by not sharing it. So I think you should share it. That's just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. In fact, like I said, or other people have said this creating videos takes a lot of effort. Now, thankfully, I get to talk with a lot of people that are doing this. You know, I was just talking. Well, I say talking. I was emailing Steve Thorne the other day. Now, Steve is Flight Chops. I don't know if you guys have watched Flight Chops. Great guy, great videos. Like, some of the stuff he's doing is really cool, and I highly recommend his channel. And especially Patreon. Like, he's a big Patreon guy. I'm not I don't do Patreon, but I pay for his channel through Patreon because I just think it's a great service, and it's really fun watching him fly all these really cool planes. So that's one of the channels that I would recommend. Another one I would recommend if you get a chance is Stevo Knievo. Look him up. He does really cool flying in the Gulf and Bahamas and things like that. He gets to fly cool planes. He flies a TBM 850, which is neat. It's a nice plane. That beeping that you guys are hearing in the background, I've had people ask me before what that is. That is an ice maker. So I have an ice maker out here in my hangar. It's a little desktop, tabletop ice maker. Costs about $100 on Amazon. And works really great. Creates ice, which, you know, if you call it an ice maker, by default, it needs to be able to create ice. It does so wonderfully, but it has an overinflated sense of self-importance in that anytime it is done creating ice, it must announce to the world, I have created ice. And it does that by beeping 12 times, or I think it was 12 times. I don't ever actually count it, 10 or 12 times. It beeps a lot. It is always beeping. That thing, jeez. It's impressed with itself, to say the least. So I'm in section 16, and in section 16, it's all about basically putting together the wing, putting the skin on and everything. And it starts out with this J-stiffener. So you've got this J-channel stiffener that sits in a channel in the ribs, and there's actually two of them. There's a 6-foot one and an 8-foot one, and they overlap right here, right in the middle, by about 2 feet. And the way the instructions read, they read like the holes, they kind of imply that the holes are already drilled in these stiffeners, which they're not. So in order to get those holes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the skins on one at a time, cleco through all of the ribs, and then match drill through the stiffeners until those are correct. I may also, I don't know if I'm going to do this, I'm going to look at it real hard, but I may also flush mount a couple rivets in the middle here where over this overlap of the two stiffeners, so that I can then just run a rivet through and make it basically one long piece of metal. I also, I put this back on. It kind of implied that this needed to come off during this process, but I think in order to get everything lined up correctly, putting it back on was probably the better way to go. So I have done that. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now in 16. This is 16-2, by the way. So fun. Here we go.
And then before I could actually get started working on anything, I heard on the radio that my buddy Lynn was landing with his RV-10. He had just entered downwind and was about to land, and I knew exactly where he was going, so I thought I'd set up the camera so that you guys could see basically what I'm building, or at least what I hope I'm building. Here it is. Look at that. That's a beautiful plane. It's nice seeing it go by every once in a while because it's kind of inspirational. It's one of those things where it's like, that's the finish line. That's the goal right there. Though I will be using a different paint scheme. Once the sightseeing was complete, I went and got all the pieces and parts I needed. There were actually 3 skins here, 2 doublers that go underneath, and then the smaller of the main skins that go on the top. Put those in place to make sure that I had the right ones in the right order. The 2 doublers, the 2 thicker, smaller plates that go underneath, are slightly different, so it's important you get those correct. You know, one is A and one is B. Make sure you have A and B correct because they won't fit otherwise. But other than that, it was about getting it all, get all the bluing removed, getting them in position, and making sure that I had everything exactly where they should be so that I could then go through and begin the process of match drilling the J-channel stiffeners. Of course, before we can do that, we have to put lots and lots of clecos in. Yay, clecos. And I went ahead and flipped the table around, kind of moved it around so it's easier for the camera to see. Again, at this point, I didn't realize that I didn't have the other camera running. So it was really convenient that it just worked out this way. I got pretty good video. I also set up the wing so it was easier to work with. And really, this turned out pretty good.
So, I haven't put the other skin on yet. I'm going to do that next. But right now I'm going to go through and I'm going to drill all of the holes that are common to the ribs, the j-stiffener, which is through here, the skin, the spar, the rear spar, etc. So that's where I'm at now. I'm going to first focus on the j-stiffeners, the j-channel that's through here, primarily because there are no holes. Like everywhere else, you're matching. You're doing match drilling, you're final drilling, rather. Here, you're doing match drilling. It looks like the, excuse me, I'm going to put some more clecos in right now. I've just got a bare minimum in, but it looks like all of the holes are just about 100% lined up, with the exception of some of these down here. It looks like between the skin, the doubler that's underneath here, and the rib underneath that, they're ever so slightly off. I mean, just a little bit off, but almost not worth talking about. Running a drill through that will clean it up nicely. So that's where I'm at and what I'm doing. Lots of drilling. Good times.
Instead, I decided to mount everything to the board and clean up my area and just come back at it tomorrow. It was still fairly early in the day and I had other things I wanted to get done, and you know, baby steps and taking bites out of it, etc. It's, you know, don't try to do everything all at once. So instead, I'm going to call it here on this one and come back the next day. So anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys later.